Well, welcome everybody to another episode of sportsdocdc. Now, you guys know I love to do everything health related, fitness related. I care about your body and your well-being. Well, today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to go over a term called situational awareness. Now, this is a term used in the adult world, especially in the tactical world, the law enforcement, military. It's usually thought of as the number one most important rule in your survival. And if I care about your health, I definitely care about this. I have kids your age, and I see them like this all the time. This term, situational awareness, it's about not being oblivious. That's what it's about. So you're so dialed into your phones that you wouldn't even see someone sneaking up behind you. They're creeping up. And if bad things could happen, I want you ready for this. I want you to be aware of it before it even gets to that point. So you guys will hear a lot of times, especially you high school kids, the term phones down, eyes up. This is what this is about. I want to explain a little bit different and a cute little quip that says phones down, eyes up. This is what we're talking about. Because look, guys, it's not just about you. Like this guy driving through a parking lot, and you guys go to school. You're in parking lots all the time. He's not aware of you. So you don't have to be aware of yourself. You got to be aware of everybody else. And that's the idea behind this whole deal. So let's get into it, because it's not as easy as when you were in grade school and your parents and your teachers taught you, look out for the guy driving the white van that says, I've got puppies, come get some candy, jump into my van. You got to be at a higher level than this. So today we're going to cover ideas that are into this situational awareness. You're going to hear terms like the left of bang or the Cooper scale. It's going to be ideas of when it's time to leave and even how to practice this. Basically, guys, it's looking for clues. So this is scenario number one. It's practical, it's obvious, you see some clues here. There's bright, shiny ice, there's cliffs, there's a blinking sign telling you, hey, look out for ice. And if you're like one of my kids down here and you're from South Texas, this probably isn't what you're used to. This is an obvious clue that you should not be out there driving that day. And these things are very easy and they're practical. But some of these other things are as well, but unless you're tuned in to look for them, you might not see them, such as this guy. He's not so obvious to some people, but yet it should be, because I see this all the time, and I see friends of mine even walk into a grocery store and this guy's looking at them. You have to be able to see that something is wrong. You see a guy with this crazy look in the eye, you better notice it. But again, I have friends, and especially my kids' friends' parents, that don't see this kind of stuff. So as we get into this, this might be a video that you even want to share with your parents, because as I'm teaching this more for my age kids, because that's what this website's built for, there's a lot of us in the adult world that has never heard of it. I hadn't even heard of this stuff or really practiced it much until I started getting more into the tactical stuff. So you get the idea. It's this idea of let me see your hands. This is a guy that teaches law enforcement and military all over the world. He teaches them posturing cues and techniques to read people. Do you know why this is so important in the law enforcement world? Do you know why they want to see your hands before anything else? Because it gives them a clue. Because if they can't see your hands, they don't know what you're bringing them. If you're bringing your girlfriend a present and it's on Valentine's Day and your hand's behind your back, it's probably okay. You both know each other. You get the idea of this. But what if it's some person you've never met and they won't show their hands? You don't know what they've got. And I don't want to scare you too much on this, but this stuff can be really dangerous. And if you're not looking for it, you're going to miss some of these important clues. So start to practice this stuff. Situational awareness. It's about being aware of your environment. It's about being prepared. It's looking for clues, and it's using common sense. Processing your information, thinking ahead, making the right decisions to keep yourself, your friends, your loved ones healthy and able and moving, alive. Every crime has a victim, guys. I took this picture because this is exactly what we see. If you look closely, this is at a high school gym. There's all kinds of things that happen here, and it gets dangerous. Situational awareness is about not being the victim. It's things you can do and see to set yourself up and avoid this in the first place, because these things happen fast, and I don't want you there. This is a term called left of bang. So imagine the action. The reason they use bang is you think of like a gunshot. Pow, the bang goes off. Was there things that happened prior to that that would have given you information that would have helped you decide ahead of time, hey, this is probably a bad spot to be? So this is the term we use in the adult world and the tactical world called left of bang. It's pre-incident indicators. Being to the left of bang, so when the bang happens, you're nowhere there. If you're to the right of bang, well, now you're reacting. And that can happen sometimes too. And that's a whole different avenue, but you may have to be on either side of it. I want you to have most of your stuff happen on the left of bang. So let's go back a slide. You get to where this big fight breaks out in the gym. Don't you think there was things that you could have caught on to 10 minutes before the incident happened? Maybe a day before? Maybe these two guys were talking smack to each other the day before. Maybe this is brewing for a week and a half, a month beforehand. Maybe it came down to a bully situation. Now, what I'm saying is this doesn't always happen, but a lot of times there are indicators that something is going to go down. Be aware of those indicators, because if you're ignoring them, you're missing them. So when this stuff happens, it's happened for the first time. When you've processed it and you're aware, it's nothing to be jumped at or startled you, because you know it's not your first time. Another one that we talk about a lot in the adult world is the Cooper scale. And this one's kind of a fun one because you can kind of play it with your boys. But it's these 5 levels, oftentimes thought of as 4 levels. Level white, level yellow, level orange, and red. And then let's hope we don't get to black. But it can happen if you're unprepared. So basically, what level white is you're oblivious. You're not paying attention to everything. You know people, and I know people that are like this all the time. And what we do in my clinic with my friends is we just kind of joke around. I'm like, hey, check out that person. Totally code white. Now, code yellow is aware. This is where you should be most of your day. If you're at school and you're moving around, even if you're at home, you should be in code yellow all the time. It's not hyper. It's not crazy. It's not looking around paranoid. It's just being alert. You're relaxed, but you're paying attention to your surroundings. You're seeing are things as they normally are. Now, if you click and something changes, now you're to level orange. There's some sort of danger that's in there. Let's take your school example. Someone that shouldn't probably be hanging out there is hanging out at your school. Or one of these. Why is there a guy, it's 110 degrees out in the middle of summer, why is there a guy hanging out in the corner wearing a giant winter coat parka? There's something just weird about him. Now, he's either acting strange for a reason because he's hiding something, or he's got mental issues. Either one of these, something's not right, that's your code orange. And you should be able to flip from code yellow to code orange as you see things going on. You're ready to take action. Orange doesn't mean you're running crazy. You're just ready to make a move. Code red is when something has happened. There is something going down. It's time to react. It's time to run. You hear a fight. You hear shots. Someone pulls a knife. It is time to react and move right now. That's code red. And it is very, very hard, maybe impossible, to go from code white to code red like that. You don't want to make that jump. Now, code black's the next one. That's when you panic. It's a total freeze. It's a breakdown. This happens to people. They lock up and they freeze. The idea is we never, ever want you to get to code black. We never, ever want you in code white. You're going to be chilling out. You're going to be hanging out at code yellow. And work on this with your friends. This is how we practice this. I've got these guys that I work with that are some of the best tactical trainers in the country. It's a group called APT. And they start out with a 10-point system. Every day you start out with 10 points. If something spooks you and you are unaware of it, you lose a point. So if I'm in the office and one of my coworkers comes up and says, hey, doc, and bumps me and I jump, oh, didn't know you were there, I lose a point. If I walk around the corner and I bump into somebody, I lose a point. I wasn't aware. If there's a girl and she's walking and you're getting stuff out of your locker and she comes up next to you and says, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh, dude, I didn't see you there. You lose a point. The teacher surprised you. Let's say you're looking at a menu. You're at the restaurant. You're looking at a menu. The waitress walks up and you don't even see her coming. You lose a point. You start out every day with 10 points. And if you lose all 10, you're in trouble, man. You're not very good at this. Get better at this. So make it a game. Make it fun. Keep yourself dialed into code yellow. You guys can work on this with your friends at any time. Now, being aware in real life. What are some tricks that help, that make this work? Well, we like to use a 21-foot bubble. So the end of school happens, the bell rings, you're walking outside, you're going to go catch your ride. As you walk out of the school, you've got your head down on your phone, you're hitching your backpack up or you're grabbing your skateboard and you're not paying attention, you lose, man. When you walk out of school, you're in a different environment. you should have a 21-foot bubble around you. Why 21 feet? Because if something's going to happen and it's an emergency and it's going to happen in a split second, it's going to happen in this 21-foot bubble around you. So that's one thing to look for. Always have the bubble around for you. If you're in school, your 21-foot bubble is tricky because it might be when you're in a locker between classes and there's 50 different people moving around you. Be aware, know what's normal and what's not normal, and continue on your day. Here's another one we use a lot. Look for doors. When you walk into a restaurant, play this game with your friends and then start playing it with yourself. How many doors are there in this restaurant? Because you just walked in the front door. That's the door everyone's using. But you know there's got to be a back loading dock. You know there has to be an escape door. So start looking around because many of these you're not going to see. Why is it important to know your door? Because you should know the fastest way out in any situation. Now make this hit for you guys. You guys are kids that are in middle school and high school and college. How many doors and exit routes are around you? Because you probably go day to day using the exact same way all the time. And you need to know how many versions are there. How many versions out? How many versions for somebody else to come in? And look to see what's normal. Is there a door that's always locked from the outside and you walk by one day and there's a backpack or a 2x4 and it's sitting in there and it's propped open? That should mean something to you guys. You should switch from your code yellow to code orange and go tell someone or figure out what's happening, okay? One that I always look for is clothing that's out of place. We brought up the parka in the middle of summer. That's a big one. How about wearing a long jacket? How about an adult that you see out in town with no shirt on? If I'm at the beach and I'm surfing with my kids, I've got my shirt off. That's normal. If I'm walking downtown as an adult man, I don't have my shirt off. You're either a meathead that's looking to flex and show off, or you're tweaking and you're weird, or you've got some sort of mental issue. All of those should get your attention. That should move you out of your code yellow into your code orange. Something is wrong about adult male walking around with no shirt off. And that goes into strange behavior. If you're sitting in your parking lot and you're talking with your boys about how the day went and what girls wearing what and what you like about your sports, and someone you don't know starts approaching your car, that's strange behavior. These are things that you should be aware of in real life. And situational awareness, guys, it goes really, really deep. It can get as far as using reflections and mirrors and windows to look behind you. You can go deep with this. I've sat through countless seminars and hours of training on this stuff. I want you guys to get the basics. These are for the basics that make the biggest difference to me. Just being aware and looking out. The next thing is when to leave. There has to be a threshold that you're okay with. Things are getting a little bit strange and I just don't feel like it's safe here. It doesn't mean something went wrong. It means that if something is going to go wrong, you're not there to wait to find out. You never, ever have to wait and see what happens. And especially the last few months of all this stuff's making on social media, I do not want one of you people that follow this idea to be the one whipping out your cell phone and recording it when something goes down. There's enough people doing that. You'll see it later. You don't want to be in the area because when stuff goes bad, it goes bad. Look back at that picture I have of the guys fighting the gym. That wasn't two guys fighting. That turned into a big thing. You can see how these protests, when they turn into riots, how that goes bad really fast. You should never have to record it on your cell phone. That's not what you're there to do. That shouldn't be your priority. You shouldn't ever feel weird about leaving a situation, and you shouldn't ever feel embarrassed. If nothing happens, big deal. But if something does happen and you're not there, especially as the dad, as the parents, we do not want you there. It's okay to get up and leave anytime you feel like it. Now, just because we brought it up, I do want to get a little bit into protests and mobs and groups. It is your American right to protest. It's in our Constitution. It's okay to do, but you have to have awareness of how these things work. Understand groupthink. Any of you guys that are part of a group, especially sports or watching sports as a spectator, you get how the momentum all sweeps us up at one time. We all start getting excited. We all start cheering. We all start getting nervous at the same time. The same thing happens in protests. It happens in mobs. It happens in big groups. If you've ever been to a big concert and the music starts cranking and the bass starts going and the guy strums the guitar, we all get fired up at the same time. This happens in these situations too. So think it through. Look for some of the signs that things are wrong. Are there people at your protest that weren't there an hour ago? and now they're showing up? Are they dressed different than you? Does it look like they have some sort of different agenda? Because I'll tell you, the picture on the top of the peace sign and the protest and the picture of the bottom of Hennepin Street burning to the ground, that's a matter of minutes before those things change. Again, as your parent, as someone who's trying to help you live a better life, I don't want you there. We've all seen the videos of people that go and they're the rioters and they're picking up bricks and they're throwing them. And the one friend picks up a brick and throws it and it hits his other friend in the head. You don't know how things are going to go down. These are two guys that showed up there together and they got hurt. What happens if you're the innocent bystander and you're in one of these and the mob starts? You got to be careful. It goes back to when is it time to leave and being aware of this so it's not your first time to have to think about it. When it's time to leave, you leave. You do not want to be there when the flames start going. So that's situational awareness, guys. That's giving you a brief overview. I hope you like it. Again, it is not about being scared. It's not paranoid. I'm not freaking out because I'm a situational awareness guy. And it's not being wimpy or nervous that you think all these things are going to happen. It's just you being smart. It's not being on all the time. Again, I'm not paranoid. I'm not looking over my shoulder. I'm not terrified that something's going to happen at any time and something's going to go bang at any time. I'm just looking for clues. I'm trying to be smart. It's not crazy. It's looking ahead. It's using common sense. It's being prepared, even thinking about things. So if something does go down, it's not the first time your brain's had to react to it. So start practicing now. You can practice things very easy, like the Cooper scale. That's a fun one to do with your friends anyway, especially when you see one of them in code white. It's the idea of left of bang and not being in a situation when it goes down, or being on the right side of it if it happens and being able to react because you've gone through and you've played it over in your head before. It's a 21-foot bubble. The idea of your phone down, your head up, especially when you get to a new environment. Trust your gut feeling. Trust your instinct. If you read comics, this is the spidey sense. This is the tingling. At the heart of it, guys, we're all the human animal. We're built with this instinct in our body. We feel it before our brain is ever aware of it. So trust your gut feeling. Trust when something is going wrong or it doesn't feel right. Use your common sense and think, because just like anything, the more you practice this, it starts to become automatic and you don't have to pay attention. It just works. Hope you guys like this one. Situational awareness. Share this with your friends. Share this with your parents. Share this with the people that need to know this stuff. Love you guys. Keep it up. Keep checking out more videos on the sportsdocdc. Take care.